Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Tops. This week we discussed something that all of us might enjoy and our subconscious
might be frightened by. We are going to be discussing Disney villains. We honestly don't have a good reason for doing it,
but we wanted to, and it's our show. We can do what we want. Right, studio audience? Right.
Yeah. Alright. So why don't you start us off?
Alright, well, my number 5, I'm going to say, I was looking through the list, and there were some that I figured you would have, and so I didn't do them on purpose, and so I have a lot of ones that are my favorites, but probably number 5 on my list is actually from the newest Disney film, Hans from, well, newest animated film, Hans from Frozen. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, don't listen to this. He's the villain. Okay, you can listen now.
Yeah.
I like him because you don't know that he's the villain. You don't know that until the last 15-20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And so that's something unique that you don't often see. And you know, he doesn't really have a villain song, but he does have a song in the beginning of the movie, and so it's sort of a unique villain.
Yeah. That's an interesting choice. And he is a pretty good villain, considering you don't know that he is actually a villain. Number 5 on my list has to be Clayton, I don't know his last name, from Tarzan. Now Tarzan, I know I think we did a favorite Disney movies episode a while back.
Oh yes.
I think I mentioned it, I'm pretty sure I did. I don't remember what his ranking was, but it is one of my favorite Disney movies, and he is one of the best villains. He is just ruthless, and he has one of the most intense death scenes. Oh, spoiler alert. Okay, let's just, I know we're already a little bit late for a preface, but let's just say that the rest of this episode is going to probably contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen a lot of Disney movies,
you might not want to watch.
Leave. We don't need you anyways.
Or if you want to know what happens before you watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, his final death scene, being hung from a vine, that is kind of ironic, since he was trying to destroy nature.
Yeah, it's intense too.
Yeah.
We always fast forwarded that part when we were younger, and I still sometimes fast forward.
I was like 10 before I actually saw the whole thing through.
Yeah.
Because we fast forwarded it. Anyways.
Anywho.
Back on the VHS days.
Yes, those are the good days. Alright, before we get off on a VHS rant, my number 4 would probably be Jafar. I'm not sure if you had him or not. He's sort of one of the more popular Disney villains. I know he's in the Disney Villains merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
He is the evil advisor. He becomes a sorcerer. He becomes a genie. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And he's just evil and twisted. And I really like him in that movie.
I think I did not put him as one of mine because I figured he would probably be on one of yours. But it's interesting to see his fall and his rise, because it's like he's consumed by getting all the power, and once he has the power consumes him. So
very ironic.
Yeah.
It's very well told, and Disney does that with a lot of their stories. The more you think about it, the more well told their stories become, as in the villains, the way what happens to them. I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But
anyways, also, my number 4 is Ursula from The Little Mermaid. She is.
It's one I didn't think you would have.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, I actually changed it, but yeah. So she's a pretty intense villain. I mean, she has that evil lair and those little shrinky people.
Poor unfortunate souls.
Yeah, the poor and there's a whole song about it and stuff. But they're like really creepy. They're like little worms, and there was one of the most frightening childhood villains, I guess you could say, because I didn't want to be turned into a little worm. That's kind of intense.
Creepy.
Anyways, she also has an ironic death since she's trying to take over the sea and she dies by a bow getting stabbed into her.
Most of these villains have very violent deaths.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. Like, well, actually, you can go ahead and.
All right. Well, my number 3 is going to be one that doesn't have a big death sequence. Is Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove. The Emperor's New Groove is one of my favorite Disney movies. It's hilarious, and Yzma's very serious, but in a comical sort of a way, and she's old, disgusting. She's just a good villain, sort of to
scary beyond all reason.
Yeah, scary beyond all reason, just to cap off the funny movie.
Yeah, that one is good, and I didn't put that one on my list specifically because you had said you were. All right, this next one, I kept debating on whether I should put it onto my list or not, and I just decided to go with it because he's such a good villain. It's John Silver from Treasure Planet. Now, I hadn't seen the Treasure Planet movie until a few years ago, I think, but I really liked it. It's based off of Robert Louis Stevens' Treasure Island, and so it's a spoiler for both of those, just in case you didn't know. He pretends that he's kind of good, and he befriends Jim, the main protagonist, and then he kind of betrays everyone and takes over the ship, and yeah, that's what happens.
And I'm always conflicted. I'm always left with very mixed feelings at the end of either Treasure Island or Treasure Planet. Whether I like John Silver or not, it's very conflicting.
That's why he's one of such a great villains, because you sympathize with him, but you just kind of feel like he plays on your emotions very much.
Very much so.
That's just an interesting aspect to take for a villain. Anyways, what's your next one?
My number 2 is Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Probably my favorite thing about him, besides his masculinity, which that came out wrong. Anyways, no, because he is just like, never mind. My favorite thing about him is the sort of like that rise and falling action. Is he rises, he's the people's hero. And then in the fight scene between the Beast and him, you sort of see the Beast as a villain in the beginning, and then Gaston becomes the villain more towards the end.
And then
he is the Beast. And him and the Beast sort of switch places, and it's a cool back and forth.
What you call a cruel irony.
Yes.
Anyways, for my next one, this one is maybe one of the most well-known villains. It's Scar from The Lion King. The Lion King is definitely one of the most critically acclaimed Disney movies, as well as one of the best Disney movies.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's just a completely ruthless villain. Not as ruthless as my number 1, but he still is crazy. I mean, he looks his brother right in the eye and sends him to his death.
Yeah.
And if that's not intense and crazy, I don't know what is. Anyways, and then his death scene is kind of crazy too.
No, let me explain. No, you don't understand. No, I didn't mean. No, I understand. No.
And kind of frightening when the hyenas turn against him. And he's also one of those villains that once he rises to power, he kind of just destroys everything. Like the land is completely barren after he comes to power, and that's just kind of symbolic. But
yeah, it really is. And if you didn't know, Lion King is based loosely on Hamlet, and there are a lot of parallels between him and Hamlet's uncle. So,
what's your top one?
My top one, you know my top one because I told you many times, is Hades from the Disney movie Hercules, or if you want to be correct, Heracles. He is the funniest Disney villain, I think, and yet he is one of the most fearsome Disney villains, and I think that was an interesting way to make Hades. Is he's so funny. One of my favorite lines is when Zeus is asking him how the underworld is, and he's like, I can't remember the line.
Always dark, always gloomy.
Dark, always gloomy.
And hateful, always full of dead people.
And always full of dead people. But what are you gonna do? And you know,
he always makes puns. In the clip we're gonna show, just see how many puns you can find.
Oh, we're showing a clip?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Wonder Boy, you are too much.
Let her go.
Get a grip. Come here, let me show you around. Well, it's a small underworld after all, huh?
Meg!
No, mustn't touch. You see, Meg's running with a new crowd these days, and not a very lively one at that.
You like making deals. Take me and Meg's...
I didn't know that. But anyways, he's the funniest villain I've ever seen, one of the funniest Disney characters in an ironic sort of way.
Yeah. Alright, and for my number 1 Disney villain, I've got to say it's Shan Yu from Mulan. Mulan is probably one of my favorite Disney films, and he is just a very menacing bad guy. I mean, if you just look at him, he looks huge. And from the very opening scene of Mulan, you can tell he's going to be very vicious and mean. And I mean, he is a warlord, so it's kind of just comes with the business. But he is definitely one of the not scariest, but menacing.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the most menacing out of all the Disney villains. But that's all the villains we have. But there's so many more.
Many more.
Leave in the comments if you want your top Disney villains, and we will see you next week.
Also, like, share, and if you enjoy our videos, subscribe for one. I think we're starting to do them every other week, not every single week. If you've noticed, we've sort of started a trend.
Or we'll just kind of post them whenever we want, but we'll try to do it at least every other week, or maybe weekly. But it just depends on what's going on, but definitely look for one every other week, and we'll see you guys later.
Have a good week.